ideals like peace, freedom, and justice, they get packed up. But we can all go home. Well, I'm not going home. I'm gonna get on my boat, and I'm going upriver, and I'm going to kick that son of a bitch Bison's ass so hard that the next Bison wannabe is gonna feel it. Now, who wants to go home, and who wants to go with me?
To the Rated G for Gamers podcast, episode 226. Before we start the show, we want to thank all of our wonderful fans who have supported us. And if you want to show support for Rated G, you can find us on Patreon at patreon.com/Rated G for Gamers. For as little as $1, you can help support us make more awesome content for you, the fans. You can also find us on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Rated G for Gamers. And finally, please rate and review us on iTunes and Spotify. We appreciate all the love. I'm your host, Dave Rotino, and this is my co-host, Dan, the podcaster formerly known as Classic Robinson.
What's going on, man?
Oh, it's another hot one today.
It's hot. It's a scorcher.
It's like right up in the 90s. And
it's a scorcher.
You will be happy to know.
I feel like I'm in a Twilight Zone, that episode where like the sun was coming, the earth was getting close to the sun.
Oh, and just like melting everybody?
Degrees.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's how it feels.
It sure feels like that. You will be very happy, Dad. I turned on my air conditioner today.
Oh!
I dusted off the cobwebs, and I turned it on.
Let me guess, because I know you. You. Mm-hmm. You turn it on for a good 10 minutes. And just let it, and you let the cold air sit.
Exactly. What do you think? I made of money? Come on now, Dad. Half an hour I had it on. Let it get some cool air in the house. And I said, okay, we're good. We're good.
Extra 20 minutes. Look at
that's
that.
right.
Okay.
30 minutes.
A whole 30 minutes you let it run.
Mm-hmm. That is like the fourth time I've turned it on this summer. Yep.
I don't believe you.
Yep. No, I did. Well, I mean, you're saying that because you don't think I even turned it on 4 times.
Yeah. No. I don't think you turned it on. I don't even, no.
Mm-mm. Yeah, I did. I
think the switch to turn it on is just as dusty as my PSVR.
It has all cobwebs on there.
Yeah, it's just as dusty as my PSVR. You probably touched it. That was probably the first time you touched it.
Oh, my God. So, yeah, man, I had to, like, dust off all the cobwebs. It was, it was crazy. It's crazy. It was a little dusty back there. Pretty sure I saw a spider.
So, how was your weekend?
Well, I mean, besides it being super hot, it's it's pretty good. I had a friend joking by earlier today, and we were doing some TV troubleshooting. All right, I'm pretty sure I talked about the fact that my TV's busted. So I have the old TV, thankfully, right, which I have sitting right next to the new TV, which is hanging on the wall, which doesn't turn on. So we kind of pried open the back, and we were using the multimeter to figure out what was getting juice and what wasn't. And ultimately, I think we looked up a bunch of part numbers, right, because there's 3 big computer boards that are in the back, right. There's the main board. And then there's two big other boards. I forget what they're called. And they're all kind of interconnected, right? Between the 3 of them, it's only like $260 for those 3 boards. It costs like nothing. There's really not a lot to them. So I was like, why don't I just order a new board? Because I think it's the board that's faulty, right? Because as soon as you unplug stuff, wait a little bit, and then plug it back in, it turns on for a little bit. So it's not like the fuses are busted. It's not like it's not getting power, like it is getting some power. I just think something on that board is fried. So, why not?
You turn into the TV repairman now. You can have a TV repair service on the side.
Yeah, right. And then charge people $500 to come to their house and then not fix their TVs, just like what happened to me.
We can make a killing. It'd be a side business.
I would friggin' love to. I still don't know if
I'm not even coming to the house. I'm charging $500 to do a Zoom call, and you got to show me in the back of the TV.
Oh my God! Yeah. Well, okay. Here's what you got to do. All right, you got to point at this thing, and then tell me what the model is, and then I'll look it up on my computer.
And then I'll actually pretend to actually order the part, and then ignore your phone call after I get paid.
Yeah. It sounds suspiciously like what happened to me, Dan. It's terrible. Be very careful about who you get to come to your house to fix your electronics.
Yeah,
and make sure they take other forms of payment than cash. That is a PSA.
Yes, and make sure you get a receipt, like a detailed receipt of everything that was done.
Yeah, and not just like a bullshit piece of paper with some writing that you can't read on it. Ugh.
So.
Yeah. How about you, Dan? How was your weekend going?
Well, it was a good weekend. A lot of domestic laundry, food shopping, but
there you go.
I got finally saw Spider-Man: Homecoming.
Hey,
so I'm up.
Took you like 4 years.
I am up to date with all the Marvel Cinematic Universe movies. I'm done. I got it.
Nice. There you go.
And I gotta say,
what'd you think?
I gotta say. It was okay.
It was okay.
It was okay.
Oh my God! I'm gonna take a page out of my Stephen A. Smith book, and I don't know if you remember that clip. He was talking about that basketball star.
It was asinine, acid 10, acid 11, acid 12.
Oh my God! No. When he was talking about some basketball star, and he just wigs out and goes, "He was on crack." That's how I feel. Right? How is that movie not? How is that movie all right?
Okay.
How is that not fantastic on the Dave scale?
It was far from fantastic. It was on a Dave scale. It was on the high end.
And well, that's like a 3 out of 4 if you want to go by numbers. So, okay.
Well, 3.5 out of 5.
So wait. So you mean to tell me, and I know the answer to this, but you mean to tell me you like Far From Home more than Homecoming?
Oh, way better.
What?
Way better. Way more entertaining. Way better. Because Far From Home, he was Spider-Man, and he was doing Spider-Man things. In Homecoming, he was just doing things that I don't think anybody
the origin
would do.
Story.
It wasn't even an origin story. He was always
Spider-Man.
He was Spider-Man. We didn't see him get bit by the spider. We didn't see Uncle Ben is dead, but it had no mention of Uncle Ben.
Why? Did you actually want to see Uncle Ben die for the 17th time? Come on. It's just like Batman's parents dying in the alley. We've seen it. We don't. Yeah, I
want to see it again.
We don't need to see it. I'm sorry.
I want to see it again.
I thought it was great. Tony Stark makes the cameo, right?
Yeah, no, listen, Iron Man was in it, right? He was in it. They actually showed the Iron Man suit maybe 3 times, 2 or 3 times. I thought it was okay. I didn't like the first hour. I'll be honest. It was about 2.5 hours.
Well, that was, that was like really kind of the build up and, the interaction with his like friends and Mary Jane and, he's an awkward teenager, right? Like you gotta settle that up.
Even being an awkward teenager, which I know a lot about, half of those things I wouldn't have done. And I don't think anybody would have done.
Well,
listen, if I'm Spider-Man,
you're not Peter Parker from Queens.
I'm Dan Robinson from Queens.
I know.
Same thing. Yeah, we both. Yeah. The only difference is I'm black, a lot taller. Well, even when I was 14, I was a lot taller.
Yeah.
And I wasn't bitten by a radioactive spider. The only difference. Okay. I still would have made a special guest. Listen, I would have found a way to make a special guest appearance to say Peter Parker is my main man, and then web sling off.
Gave him the pound of that web sling. Jesus. All right.
I'm telling you, I would have did it.
All right, so
it was okay. It was okay.
Right. It was a very fun movie. You gotta at least give me that.
Eventually, and listen, Michael Keaton as the Vulture, amazing, awesome.
Yeah, right. Come on now.
That part was awesome.
Come on,
He made a good Vulture. I like the whole premise of them stealing tech after all the Avenger movies, right? They were stealing the tech that's been left over.
Yeah.
And I love the fact that Iron Man was just like, this is beneath my pay. I'm fighting people like Thanos, right? And Ultron. Like, I can't, thieves, that's not my thing. Let's call the FBI.
You're going after the big boys.
So listen, I get it. I like the premise. I just thought the execution, at least in the first hour, could have been a little bit better. Or maybe the writing could have been a little bit better in the first hour.
All right.
That's all I'm saying.
All right. I still think you're on crack.
It was the first hour and a half was like more comedic, and I want to see Spider-Man. Funny enough, I was flipping through the channel maybe later on in the day after I already seen the movie. And I landed on Amazing Spider-Man, the first Amazing Spider-Man.
Oh, okay.
Telemundo. It was on Telemundo. So it was in Spanish. And it was just a sequence when he was on the bridge and he was like web slinging all the cars so they wouldn't fall off the bridge. Yeah. And he was fighting a lizard. And I was like, that's what I want. I want to see Spider-Man stuff. That's what I want to see. I want to see Spider-Man. I don't want to see... It doesn't need to be... Everything doesn't need to be comedic.
He kept the boat together.
No, Iron Man kept the boat together.
Nah, Spider-Man had a lot to do with that too.
Iron Man came in and kept the boat together. That's why.
That was a great scene. That showed Spider-Man growing, and he couldn't do it all by himself.
And Iron Man had to save him.
Yeah, because he's learning. He's learning. He's a young kid. I want to see
Spider-Man do Spider-Man things.
But he's not that level of Spider-Man yet.
Even the Sam Raimi, the first Spider-Man, when he was learning to be Spider-Man, he did Spider-Man things.
By the end of the movie, he had to get his ass beat by Macho Man Randy Savage, aka Bonesaw, in the damn thing. He had to watch his uncle die. He had to get bit by the spider.
He was doing if he gets bit by the spider before he gets bit by the spider, he's not doing Spider-Man things because he's not Spider-Man. I'm just saying.
Yeah, he was barely doing Spider-Man things after that until he really got a hold of his powers.
Listen,
which was about an hour into the movie. The movie was like 3/4 over.
That first movie. He didn't take it serious, and he's like, yeah, I'm powerful. And the bully, Flash, came at him, and he beat the crap out of Flash. That's what you do when you're a teenager and you have power, and then the bully's coming after you. You beat the crap out of him.
That was like a 2-minute scene at best, if even.
That's a realistic.
That's it. That's like a 2-minute
That was more
scene.
real. That was more realistic. I'm sorry. That was more realistic. That was a better. The Sam Raimi movie, the first one, was way better than Homecoming. I'm sorry.
All right. I did like the first Spider-Man. First Sam Raimi Spider-Man was good. A lot of people kind of hated it a little bit.
We want to talk about a movie that may be on the low end because it has low expectations, and that's Monster Hunter. So the movies, they finally been delayed, which no surprise. I don't know why it took them so long to say it. But a lot of different screenshots came out of the movie. It looks okay. I'm actually kind of curious now about this.
Wow, it's got our girl Mila Jovovich in it, right? She's the star of Resident Evil. She's Alice in every damn one of those things. And the same person who's directing the Monster Hunter movie, her husband, is the same person who directed all the Resident Evil movies. So
then she'll be in all 6 Monster Hunter movies then.
There you go. Yeah, right. Well, I mean, they did show weapon dual wielding, which was kind of cool. I thought that was kind of neat. It's also got Tony Jaa in it, so
Well, that I'm super hyped for because I'm a big fan of his. When I first heard about this movie, I was just like, I got no expectations for this. But then seeing the screenshots, I'm kind of curious, like how is this going to work with the different monsters?
Same.
So, side note, sort of as like a quick news take. I heard over the weekend IGN is partnering with Gamescom for their sort of direct, right? Gamescom Direct. That's going to happen in August.
Right.
So, it looks like IGN's all in. They're partnering with a bunch of people. They had their own sort of Summer Games Fest that was in June.
Yeah. I mean, they're still doing more of those. Is that right?
No, it's over. It's over.
IGN's done. Okay. So they had their 5 events, which I thought were kind of cool. Like, we definitely got some info out of that. Like, wasn't the most exciting, but...
Well, the biggest thing they had other than the Samurai Jack game, was they had like the Cyberpunk 2077 sort of walkthrough.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, which was amazing. Everyone
That
kind of
was
teared that down and picked it apart in like a good way. Showed all the really cool things that the game is doing.
so this isn't like Gamescom is going to announce it, and then an hour later IGN is going to go with it. No, IGN is going to help sort of host it and do the planning. So they're going to be ready with all the articles and previews ready to go. So I'm super interested to see, since they're partner with IGN, this tells me, or I hope, that they have something exclusive like with Microsoft or PlayStation or something, right? Maybe they'll have, maybe we'll see, maybe we won't get it inside Xbox in August. Maybe we'll see what the sort of the all digital Xbox Series X through Gamescom, right? Because Microsoft historically has had their showcases in Gamescom. Sony is sort of held stuff back from Gamescom because Tokyo Game Show was like 2 weeks later.
Right. Well, it's weird because Microsoft said they're doing stuff all summer long, right? To kind of be in the zeitgeist, like, we have this thing and we have this thing and here's this game and here's this, here's the slim down Series S as opposed to the Series X, right? And maybe this will kind of be the replacement for their like August thing, Regardless, we're gonna get info, right?
Yeah. Well, I hope. I know we're gonna get a slate of indie games. I just hope we get some demos. Like
playable demos.
Yeah, like Jeff Keighley said that he's gonna have like over 60 demos playable on Xbox One.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, they'll be coming.
For an event in July. So I hope we get like some playable demos for this IGN Gamescom connection.
Oh yeah. So well, as long as it's not next gen exclusive, which every game isn't, right? They're all cross compatible, so I think that's fairly likely.
Also, another quick take. You thought 6 months ago, Super Mario Brothers, the original Super Mario Brothers, with their original sticker that they were selling at FUO Shorts back in like 1985, it sold. You thought that would be like the highest like sold Super Mario Brothers game, right?
I think everybody thought that.
It was like $106,000.
Yeah, something like that. 106.
You would be wrong, my friend, because another Super Mario Brothers, the original seal that they had back in FOA Shorts, sold for $114,000.
My God, that's insane.
You know what? When someone asks me, I think my sister asked me, like, how rich would you want to be? I said I would want to be so rich that I can buy Super Mario Brothers for $106,000 and just open it up and not care.
Oh my God.
That's how rich I want to be. I want to be able to, like, you know what? Here's $100,000. Let me get that. And open it up and start playing it.
Right.
That's what I want.
This is interesting because not all of these are created equal. They're all kind of different versions, right? Some of them have like a hang tab on the back, which is a little plastic sticker, which you would use to put on like a presentation hook. I don't know what you call it, right? One of those like metal hooks that come out and then curves up at the end. So you have a bunch of games and people can just pull them off the shelf, right? And they kind of sit on the hang tab, right? So that's what this one is. They're like calling this a 3-code variant. I don't know necessarily what that means, but they were all produced like very early on. These were like the first run, if I'm reading this correctly, right? Each subvariant of the cardboard hang tab black box produced in that time frame had a production period of just a few months, right? So it's a very narrow window from when these things came out. That's part of the reason why it's so expensive, because it's a particular version or a particular production model or production run of Super Mario Brothers, right? So there's only so many of this particular version of this particular game, right? Like the copy that me and you have is like fucking super common, probably from the late 80s, early 90s or whatever, right? It's a super late run. And ours don't come in the box, right? Because they're very hard to come by. Because it was like the pack-in game, right? Like, you know, very, 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 very hard to come across a complete.
Well, mine's is from 87.
Okay.
I was like 5.
Mm-hmm.
I was like 5 years old.
Oh, is that the OG one?
Yeah.
Wow.
I was like,
right.
it was either 87 or 80. It was either 87 or 88 because I was like five or six.
Wow. Okay. Nice.
Because I told you I woke up and my father was playing Duck Hunt.
Right.
And I was just like,
right.
wow.
That's right.
Let me play. And he's just like, wait. And then I waited. I don't know how long I waited. It felt like forever.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the first seeds of Twitch.
Right.
just watching them play the game.
So I have a little bit of a tangential side note, but I was looking on Craigslist the other day for game sales in their for sale video games area, and I saw someone selling a sealed stadium event stand. For how much? How much do you think they were selling the sealed stadium event?
On Craigslist?
On Craigslist.
Okay. So you gotta keep this in mind. This is Craigslist, okay,
Yep.
not eBay.
Yep.
So maybe 5,000.
Oh no, definitely not 5,000. They were selling it for $100.
$100
with in a case that was graded with a VGA 85 rating, I think. Yeah. I was like, okay. This is insane. Like, who are they gonna get to fall for that? Oh, they also only accepted Apple Pay.
Okay, let me ask you a question. What if it was actually real?
I mean, it's not, but
what if it was actually real? What if there was like someone divorcing her husband? And she has his stuff because she kicked him out and she just wants to get rid of it. And she was just like, I want $100 for this crap. I don't even know what this is. This video game.
Hold on. There is an update. It is now listed for $2,000.
Oh, see? You should have got it at 100. Just got it at 100.
Yeah, that is not the that is definitely not what it was at when I originally saw it.
You should have bought it for 100, even for a replica.
Delivery only due to COVID-19. Payment is with Apple Pay or Cash App. No payment accepted due to COVID-19. Payments must be made before delivery. Call or text at this number. Yeah. Okay.
And the number is somewhere like in Africa or Amsterdam.
Yeah, I bet it is.
Yeah.
It's like
okay. Well, let's talk about games that we've actually opened the box on, broken the seal, and played. Dave, it's that time again. It's that time of the show. I know it's your favorite time of the show. Mm-hmm. Something that we always try to do at the beginning of the show, but epically fail.
Oh yeah.
What have you been playing?
Oh yeah. We're on this amazing track record. I don't think we've done more than 5 shows where we've kind of started off with what we've been playing. So and they were like the first 4 shows we did. I know. So Dan, it is my favorite part of the show because we get to talk about the games that we've been playing, and we get to have a little back and forth. I know you love your PlayStation, and as do I. So still playing Spider-Man, just about done. I'm like 85% total completion. That is all the missions, all the bullshit Taskmaster stuff, all the backpacks, all the tokens, everything. So I'm doing real well. Almost done with that game. And then, because I couldn't wait any longer, I got The Last of Us Remastered, and I started playing the first one. So
nice.
It's amazing. It's a really good game. It's a really good game.
Especially the first 20 minutes of that game.
Oh my God. I know.
Get a little emotional. No spoilers.
I know. Can we go ahead and talk about that now?
No.
I mean, is that okay?
No.
Is that okay?
No, you can't. No.
Why?
No, you can't spoil it. No, you can't spoil it.
That game is like 7 years old right now.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. What if someone hasn't played it? What if someone hasn't started the series?
The man who doesn't care about anything. The man who spoils everything for everybody. You were
it's a
taking
game that was like
now.
3 years old, and you wouldn't. And I said, I want to talk about it, and you're like, no, don't spoil it. So
Well,
wow.
that's like no, it wasn't 3. It was
like
less
3 years
than a
old.
year.
It was like 3 years old.
All right,
Well, you know what?
I won't talk about it, but it was certainly surprising what happened in the beginning moments of the game, because it's kind of setting up the game world. You don't know what's going on. Then you start to realize, oh, there's a zombie outbreak. Oh, there's this militia group. Oh, you're like kind of the, the resistance group, and you're just trying to like get through. Like, I think like that's kind of cool. And then you like see this event go down, and you're like, oh, so that's how it's gonna start. So I'm like, okay, I get it. Like, I thought it was gonna be Joel and Ellie's big day adventure, and it's not.
No, it is far from that.
Oh,
But you got the Last of Us remastered. So you have the DLC too, because it comes with the DLC. So
I do have all the DLC. It's all on one disc, which is great.
So definitely play that after you beat the game.
Yeah, everyone's been saying you got to play the DLC. So I guess it's very important. It's part of the story. I get it. I will get into it. But yeah, I mean, I'm looking to like blast through this game. I know there was like 5 different difficulty levels, and I'm like, nah, I'm gonna play it on normal. I'm not messing around, because I was gonna go like 1 up and play like a hard or whatever, and even go like 2 up, and I'm like, nah, I can't
don't do that.
I can't do it.
Don't do that.
Mm-hmm.
I will say, give you a little piece of advice. Just make sure you're always looking for supplies.
Oh, I've been, yeah.
And you keep making shivs, because in the first game, the shivs don't last; they break, which didn't make any sense, and they rectified in the second game.
I mean, I guess if you use them enough, but like if you stab a guy once or twice, your shivs should stay together. Otherwise, you have a pretty poorly made shiv.
Yeah. You got like, I think you got like 4 stabs and then it's broken.
Yeah, right? It's like, what is this made out of? Plastic? Yeah.
So,
yeah, right. It's a single-use shiv.
It's a survival. It's one of those sort of stealth survival Breath of the Wild games where your weapons keep breaking.
Yeah.
So I actually beat Astral Chain on the Switch.
Woo! Congrats.
I went back.
You went back to that game and started it over, right?
Replayed my save. I told you I didn't actually watch a walkthrough. I sort of Googled the walkthrough because I just wanted to see how long the game was. Mm-hmm. And the walkthrough I found was like 13 hours. I was like, oh, well, I already played 6. Well, 7. So I'm halfway through the game. This game is like 15 and a half hours.
Yeah.
Or at least it took me 15 and a half hours.
So it's 3 Order 1886 playthroughs back to back to back.
2.5.
Like 3. Come on now. That game is like 5 hours.
The game is 6.5 hours long.
It's generous. That's very generous.
It's 6.5 hours.
You have to be
long.
playing
If you're going for a platinum,
that's a different story.
Extra hour.
Extra hour. You gotta find all those newspaper clippings.
Yeah. Oh, yo, I missed that trophy. I must have missed like 1.
Yeah, same.
I should have had that.
I mean, look. You can go back on your lunch break tomorrow, beat the game again, and you can get the achievement.
No, not doing it.
Oh, so I do also want to mention I did get to play a little bit of the Vive Cosmos VR setup.
Okay.
Right. So when like Joe was over, we were looking at the TV and all that, and he brought his new VR setup because he basically bought it and he wanted to see if he could like set up a virtual desktop so he could work, like actually do like coding and all that in VR in a virtual world setup. Because they have this thing called like big screen, right? Which basically takes your computer screen, however many monitors you have, and puts it in like the room space. So you're in this virtual room, you're sitting down, and you can make all these panels that have whatever's on, your computer screens. And you can kind of look around and bend them around you and make them whatever size that they need to be. And he was like, I want to see if I can actually like do this, because if I can do work on it, I'm going to expense it, and then he gets a free VR set. Turns out not so great. It was a little bit rough Text was very hard to read. It kind of gave us both a little bit of a headache. So, you know, we kind of like, we did that for a little bit to kind of mess around with it. It was interesting. You know, I guess with a better headset and some tweaking, you could maybe make it a thing, but you have to realize you'd be in it like 7-8 hours. But like the cool thing about the VR setup is like, well, we had the VR setup. We gotta like try some stuff. So I tried the Spider-Man VR demo, which is a very, very basic Spider-Man simulator. So they had some buildings, and you could like run and, you know, fly off the building, and then use like your web shooters, and then swing. So it was like kind of cool. Like it obviously didn't have any of the visual fidelity of the PS4 Spider-Man, but it was kind of neat. You know, you see yourself like dropping, like you drop quick, and then you kind of like latch on, and you have to swing your arms to move around. Like it was kind of cool. It was kind of cool.
Okay. Well, I actually bought Iron Man VR.
Yeah.
At the post office.
Yeah. It's
they
coming.
They claim they tried to deliver it, but I don't believe them because I was upstairs the whole time and didn't see anybody try to deliver anything. But I'm actually
pulled
stuck.
the old laser ship on you. Yep.
I'm actually stuck on 3,499 games. I just need one game to hit 3,500.
Oh, you're right. You're right at that. You're right at that threshold. Almost at 3,500.
So on Monday, I'm going to pick it up. Hopefully, I'll remember to have time to go pick it up. So I'll have it in my possession. I'll have 3,500 games. But
nice.
I will say this: I'm going to go back to Astral Chain. Definitely not the greatest game. Really good. I nominated it for Game of the Year back in 2019. It's definitely a platinum style game because the boss battles are really big and over the top, right? With these big, huge monsters. I love the art style. My biggest complaint on the game is that your character, no matter who you play, if you play as the brother or the sister, your character doesn't have any dialogue. Like you don't speak at all. So it's always your sister speaking, or your father speaking, or the commander speaking, or your partners, your fellow officers, because you're an officer that controls like what they call a legion that you have on a chain, which is the astral chain.
Right.
That person speaking, and I'm sure they have dialogue for both, because if you pick the sister, the brother is doing all the talking. I picked the brother, so the sister is doing all the talking. So if they have both dialogues in there,
why not just put them in? Yeah.
Why can't I speak?
Because you're supposed to be the silent protagonist, Dan, and you can be a man or a woman. So it's
annoying when someone's like, "Well, what do you think we should do?" And then all you're doing is like waving your arm and looking, and it's like ... Okay, you're right. We should do that.
It's a little bit of a Japanese thing. Yeah.
But you do at the end. You do hear, whoever you're playing as. You finally hear their voice as they narrate like the ending for you. And I was like, if you could do that, then you could have had voice actors do
right.
the rest of the game.
You know, mix it in.
Yeah, I was like, that was the only thing that took me out of it. And I didn't like not the big boss battle. Well, first of all the boss battles are big boss battles, but not the last boss battle, I should say. The boss battle before last, I hated it. I didn't think it was fun. I thought you could have cut that. I didn't think it was necessary. I thought that was like a cheap boss, to be honest. I actually changed the difficulty settings because I was like, this is unfair. Like, this boss battle is unfair.
Yeah. Oh, I hate when they do that. Too much.
But I changed it right back when I got to the last boss battle. Because it's like,
all
right. Now it's the boss battle before last, I'm not going to say exactly what's going on, but you have to jump from platform to platform sort of to get away. And it's like, I thought sort of how the platforms were coming up and moving apart was kind of unfair, because when you have your monster out, he automatically wants to fight. So it was like kind of hard to control him as he automatically is trying to fight. And I'm like, I got to jump from platform, but you need your monster to help to pull you over because your monster can hover in the air. You can't you can't jump in this game.
That's weird. Okay.
The game is that you can jump, but it's not like you're jumping from platform to platform. You need your monster to go over, hover over, and then pull you through the chain. So I thought that boss battle was just like unfair. But other than that, I stick by my nomination of this game for Game of the Year last year. So, and it's a great Switch game. I think they're working on Bayonetta 3 and they're working on some other monster game. It looks like a sort of a Godzilla type fighting game, like Monsters, that came out on a PS2 back in the day. So I don't think they're looking to make an Astral Chain 2 at least anytime soon.
Yeah.
So this could be a hidden gem on the Switch. Metal Jesus is going to be talking about this game as a hidden gem a couple of years from now on the Switch. Hidden gem Switch games.
Right.
So definitely pick this up.
$20. Pick it up on the Switch.
So, definitely pick. I say play it. Definitely pick it up and play it. I think you would enjoy it.
Yeah.
So,
all right. If it goes down to $20, I'll pick it up when it becomes a hidden gem.
I'm waiting for the July Nintendo online games, right? And of course it was about time, right? Because they put in a couple of games 4 months ago, and they're doing it like every sort of quarter. They put in games in, not every month, which I still think it's weird. I know people aren't happy with some of the games they put out every month, but at least we know they're coming every month, right? This is sort of random, 3 months, 4 months. So, but I want to play Donkey Kong Country, and they just announced Donkey Kong Country is coming to Switch Online. So
the game's a classic.
The game's a classic, and the game's classically hard. It's definitely a difficult game. So I want to play it, and you have the rewind feature. So if you think you got a cheap def, rewind and do it over.
Right.
But before we go to break, I have an update to my GameStop gamer grief for the last 2 weeks.
Right.
GameStop is open. Okay, they're open. Obviously, you got to wear, at least in New York, they're open because we're in phase 3, and you got to wear a mask. They are limiting how many people, and that can't be more than 10 people at a time.
Yep.
So I went in and I told them, hey, look, I redeemed my points. And they did the same thing, right? I tell them I redeemed my points, but it's not showing. They look and they say, hey, we have nothing in the system about you redeeming the points. And I show them the confirmation number, and they're like, oh, you redeemed your points. I'm like, yeah, that's what I said. Right? Like, lesson learned, pro tip, if you do anything and they email you, save that email. Okay? Because you need to prove that you did it.
Yep. You got to have a paper trail.
I called GameStop twice, talked to a manager. They said they'll fix it. Never fixed it. You know what they did? Because the GameStop employee looked and she said, oh, you have a coupon to redeem your pro membership. So I guess whoever I talked to just gave me the coupon, but they never notified me. I never got an email or anything, a phone call saying, hey, we fixed your problem. We gave you a coupon. You need to redeem the coupon. Like, how would I know to go into coupons and look for a coupon? Like, why would I even think that? But there's a caveat. The coupon doesn't go for the physical magazine every month. There's another coupon that you have to redeem for that. Because I don't want to pay $5. I have 60,000 points. It's 5,000 points to redeem your the Game Inform magazine physically. The coupon is inactive. You can't use it. So I called to complain about that. So I'm waiting for them to fix that. So yes, I am still a pro member, which doesn't really matter for me because I don't, if I can't go into GameStop and buy games, being a pro member is irrelevant. But I want the magazine for free. And that's the issue I'm having. So I think I'm going to miss the July issue, which is kind of pissing me off. But I'm going to try to rectify that.
This guy living in the Stone Age, listen, I love my physical stuff as much as the next guy, but magazines, I'm good.
I like magazines because they point me in the direction of a game I never heard of or probably wasn't on my radar.
So does the internet.
Yeah, but a magazine is different. Because the internet is always changing. It's always updating. I can miss something. And the magazine's that page or that issue isn't changing. It will always stay the same.
Okay, but you have to come across that particular magazine with that page that has a thing that you haven't seen.
And that's why I keep buying magazines.
Oh my god.
That's why I keep buying magazines.
Yeah, no, I'm good.
I have over 100. I have over 100 Nintendo Powers.
Yeah, no.
I think I'm like halfway through. I got half the Nintendo because there was 280, and I definitely have like 120.
Right. Nintendo Power is kind of one thing, right? Because it's really special. But yeah, I don't know. Like once I start collecting Nintendo Powers, then it's like, well, what about like GamePro, and what about EGM, and what about gameplay,
official PlayStation magazine,
official PlayStation magazine, official Xbox magazine. It's like, no,
yeah, I got those too. I got those too.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I can't do it. Can't do it.
All right. So why don't we take a break? When we come back, we'll go over the top gaming news of last week.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, this is Matt Adler, freelance journalist for IGN, and you're listening to Rated G for Gamers podcast.
And we're back.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get into the top gaming news of last week. Let's start with Ubisoft because we actually delayed recording this show so we can watch the Ubisoft Forward live, right? And we're recording right after it. So
Yep. Like almost directly after it.
Yeah, let's just jump into it. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to tell you this right now. I thought it was a little lackluster overall, only because they announced later on in the Ubisoft Forward, or I'm just gonna say Direct, because I'm gonna inevitably forget that it's called Ubisoft Forward. It called us the Ubisoft Direct, so I'm just gonna get it out of the way right now and say Ubisoft Direct.
Sure.
That they already announced that they're gonna have another one later in the year.
They're gonna have some more stuff to show, sure, but I think, to be fair, like I don't, because there were a lot of new games that were shown. Some which we knew about, some which we didn't.
Half of them we knew about already.
Oh well, one of them technically got leaked, which we'll go ahead and get into. But I feel like it's going to be like more in-depth stuff in the next one, and not other new games in the new one.
So they started off with Watch Dogs Legion, a game we knew about already. It was delayed. It was supposed to come out Christmas 2.
Yep.
Right. It was supposed to come out earlier in this year, and they delayed it.
Yeah. Mostly because of the poor sales of the other Ghost Recon game and the Division 2, and they're like, let's bring it back in and retool it a little bit to make it a real seller. Right. I think that was their thing.
Well, they are sticking with you can take over anybody, and everybody will have a backstory.
Yeah.
So
which is awesome.
We, you kind of like, well, how many NPCs are there? Like, they're going to be just random. You could take over the delivery guy,
sure,
right? You can take over the paper boy,
100%.
So, I imagine there's some algorithm that's going to mix up a lot of their stories. Like, there'll be like little elements that are just going to be randomly put together, and that's the story of that random person that you got, right?
Yeah, it'll be like this guy who kind of moonlights as a superhero, and whose parents were both killed by a madman, right?
Yeah.
And then there's this guy who also moonlights as a different superhero, and maybe only one of his parents are killed.
Well, I'm definitely picking Grandma. I'm definitely getting Grandma.
Oh my God, right? The old lady's badass.
I got to get the 007 Granny in here, so I'm definitely picking her. It was a little weird how they started, because they started with like a little short animated film of Watch Dogs Legion. Like, it wasn't something that's going to be in the game. It was just like a little film that somebody made.
Right. It was like a hype
that
trailer.
has the game skin. Yeah. And I was so confused at the beginning. I was like, is this a short film about the game that's in the game?
Yep.
Or will the game look like this? Because this don't look like anything from last year we saw, right? So I was a little confused on that. Phil Spencer did show up and say that this will have smart delivery. So if you buy it, you do get that free upgrade with next gen on the Series X, which is awesome. We just saw more of Watch Dogs Legion, which I'm not gonna lie, looks a little bit like Cyberpunk in London, right?
I mean, a little bit, yeah. I mean, it's like definitely kind of pushing the boundaries of technology a little bit. It's a little bit in the future, just like the first two were. So yeah, I mean, I could definitely see that.
This is one of those cross-gen games where it's coming out on Series X, X1, PS4, PS5. This is one of those. I'm definitely buying the next gen game and waiting for the last gen game, or right now current gen game, to go on a super sale 2 years from now at GameStop or Best Buy for like $10.
Right.
So definitely buying that. I'm excited. I'm not gonna lie, I'm excited about that. I like the fact that you can pick anybody, and I can't wait to play as grandma. I'm gonna pick like somebody who's just like so obscure, like you would never think that would be the protagonist. That's what I'm gonna pick. They showed off. They did a little teaser, and I thought we saw the 3 dots. I was like, oh my god, this is a Splinter Cell game with weird art direction, more cartoony. It looks like Splinter Cell on the Switch, right? Because it was like a cartoony type of art style, but it was a bait and switch because it's not really a Splinter Cell game. It is Tom Clancy's Elite Squad that's sort of in that style, that cartoonish style. It's not a realistic,
right. Which like, it was cool to see Sam Fisher. It was cool to see the little 3 dots on the headset and have him fly in and be a playable character, but I was pretty certain it was like a cameo type situation and not a Splinter Cell game, because they have been nothing but ultra realistic in their kind of graphical style. So I was definitely not fooled.
Then we got a new game, Hyperscape, which is also futuristic. We're going with we had the decade of the zombies. I think we got the decade of like the cyberpunk style futuristic type world. We're in 2054, and you're fighting in virtual reality. So not only are we in the future, but you're still like in virtual reality, like Player One, that movie, right? Like you're in virtual reality fighting for freedom, and you're doing like a big battle royale. And then I finally got it. I was like, oh, this is like PUBG in the future. This is the next battle royale game from Ubisoft. It's on PC, and open beta starts today.
Yep.
So if you have PC, you can play it right now.
Dan, you know I do. You know I do. You got to get your PC together so we can go ahead and play.
I'm good. Listen, Ubisoft already has me for the Division. They can't get me on anything else.
Oh my god. Yeah. I mean, I'm gonna go ahead and try it out. You know, I'll see what's up.
Then we got a deep dive in Assassin's Creed Valhalla, which I'm gonna be honest. After watching the sort of presentation, Valhalla, and then they had like a 30-minute gameplay after the presentation.
Yeah, like
after
a little
the direct
developer behind the scenes. Yeah.
It looks like a different type of game. It doesn't look like a Assassin's Creed game. It looks like
I was saying the same thing.
It looks like a new game that they just slapped the Assassin's Creed name on.
Yes.
Right.
Like there are 2 points during the presentation where you go, "Oh, she's an assassin," where she puts the hood up, and then there's another part where you see one of the blades come out. And they're very quick. They're like 2-second, 3-second bits. All the other times, you're just being loud, rambunctious Viking, right? And playing.
Well, okay, this is the first. Well, this is okay. First of all, this is the first Assassin's Creed game where you're actually leading an army in 19th century England,
right?
And even though she has the hood on, she's not really an assassin because she has a hood on because she's doing reconnaissance. She's in the town, and she has to sneak in to get info so she could do a raid. So she's not really assassinating anyone. She's just doing a cloak and dagger in the town so she can. I'm sure you're gonna, I'm sure you will kill people, right? If you're gonna kill some of the guards and stuff, but you're not really trying to assassinate unless I missed something, because they didn't say anything about us actually assassinating anybody in the game called Assassin's Creed.
Right. Yeah, it's just like, the name's got brand recognition. We have to put a new game out. We have this Viking thing that we could kind of slap it onto. Sure. Let's ship it. Yeah, it's
another
weird.
cool thing is, I thought was really cool, is you have to hunt and feed off the land. So you're coming from Norway and you're a Viking, and I thought it was interesting that they said, like Vikings weren't these just mindless, brutal warriors. Like they were fighting for a reason, right? And they just, Norway, I guess, just had lack of resources, and they wanted to expand into England. And it kind of sounded like a crazy story because they're like, hey, you don't have that many resources, and you need to take your people to a new land to live. So it's like you're killing people take over their land so you can prosper. Don't know how I feel about that technically, but from a video game standpoint, okay, that's the mission, right? And you come in and you have to take over, you're in the boat and they have like these abandoned cities where you go in. I guess you clear it of anybody that's still there,
right.
and
you kind
that's
of
your
raise the
settlement.
town, take it over, and then build it up.
That's your
again.
settlement,
right?
And then you have to actually. I'm kind of interested because he did. They said you have to hunt and feed off the land. What does that mean? Like I get hungry and I have to actually hunt and eat to keep up my strength.
You'll probably have to do some stuff, and then I bet you can put your warriors on that particular detail and have them do it, and maybe they'll have stats related to that, so you can find better people that fit in with the different job types, right? Here's your hunter, here's your cook, here's your whatever, your tailor. I bet that's what it is. And if you want to go out and do those missions, like you can. I feel like it's going to be something like that, right? And
I'm just saying, I thought it'd be interesting if it's like, all right, we're about to raid or go fight. We have this big fight, in this neutral land, but you're at like half strength because you haven't eaten anything yet, and you had to go hunt a deer, hunt it, kill it, cook it, eat it, and then now you're at full strength and you're ready to go to do a big battle.
Mm-hmm.
I think like that's kind of interesting if they do it like that, but we'll see. But they did mention that without any context, so.
Yeah. Well, I think that's part of what we're gonna get in the next Ubisoft presentation. Their next direct is we'll get some more info on that stuff to get people hyped.
Yep. And lastly, something I thought was really cool. Usually in a game, you have you have a sword, you have one sword, you have one spear, you have one shield. You can always pick up another sword or pick up another shield, or maybe craft it, and you can have dual weapons. Or dual shields, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
So
you know what I want though? You know what I want, which they definitely didn't show. And Zelda has spoiled me on this. I want to be able to shield surf down a mountain.
Oh my god!
How cool would that be with like a giant axe in hand, right?
You want to shield surf, which will inevitably kill the shield, right?
Yeah, that's fine.
Jump off and hit the person with an axe. That'd be cool. I can see that.
Yep.
And then they ended with the worst kept secret because it was already leaked. Far Cry 6.
Yep. Well, it was only a couple days beforehand, and it was leaked, right? It was leaked by a listing online. So, to be fair,
yeah, we didn't see any gameplay. We saw the guy from Breaking Bad,
Giancarlo Esposito, Gus Fring, baby.
Yeah, he's the. Well, we don't know what we're assuming he's the main bad guy. Right. And we don't know who you are. We don't know what the story is, but we do know it's coming February 18th, 2021.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if you also noticed the bit about the kid, right? Because it was a dad and his kid, and he was kind of showing him like how to like lead this group of unruly people, and he had the grenade in hand, and he pulls the pin and he goes, hold it tight. Yeah. As long as you don't let go, right? Everything's going to be okay. And, you see these people out here and he's doing all that stuff. Well, the kid grows up to be
Could be. We don't know. That hasn't been confirmed.
It's 100% him because he has the same kind of cut over his eye. Right? That was the nod.
Main bad guy in Far Cry 2.
Far Cry 2?
3.
Oh, I thought it was 3. Yeah.
No, you're right. It's 3. It is 3.
Yeah.
Main guy.
Yeah. So I'm pretty sure that's it. Like, they're of the same descent. He does kind of look like him, just as a higher res version and younger.
Well, that would be cool. That this is
awesome.
Far Cry 6 would be a prequel to Far Cry 3, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
it's kind of like bringing the world together.
But we'll see. That hasn't been confirmed, but I think you're right.
Yeah. I bet you. All right. And that'd be fantastic.
So overall, I thought it was a little lackluster for me because I was expecting a little bit more. Right? We didn't get it. We didn't get a Just Dance presentation. We didn't get any other smaller games, and we didn't get a teaser for a big new game. And they had that battle boat game. I forgot the name of it, but it was the same. They sort of took the idea from Black Flag, Assassin's Creed 4, with the boat battles.
Yeah, that was like a
Crossbones. I think it was like Crossbones. I think it was like Crossbones or something.
I think you're right.
And we didn't get any of that. We don't know Beyond Good and Evil 2. We don't know what's going on with that. I was expecting at least that, and maybe the three dots and say coming soon, Splinter Cell, stay tuned, right?
Oh yeah. I mean, it's everybody wants a new Splinter Cell game. It is an established franchise. I don't know why they're like sleeping on that. Like they put Sam Fisher as a cameo in their next Battle Royale game, which is cool, but also give us a Splinter Cell game.
So I don't know what's going on. I didn't think it was that big of a. I think it was a little lackluster just for my taste. However, something that I don't think is going to be lackluster, something that I think is going to be monumental, which it looks like, just gauging other outlets and podcasts, it looks like I'm the only one. I think it's going to be the next Xbox showcase. Okay, they announced it. It's happening July 23rd. It's going to be a first-party showcase where they're going to show all the first-party games, not launch games, but first-party games that are in a hopper. Hopefully, some of them will be launch, or launch window. I think personally, Microsoft is going to bring it hard, and I think we're going to be like, oh my god, this is incredible. But it seems like I'm the only one that thinks that, because a lot of people are going to, not saying that they're lukewarm on it, but everyone thinks it's going to be like 30-minute Halo gameplay and a handful of announcements, nothing groundbreaking. And I think it's the opposite. Well, personally,
I mean, Halo is a system seller. Like literally, it's been proven time and time again. Launch with the original, best game on the original lineup launch, one of the best launch games of all time. That has a lot of brand recognition. But I mean, there's Forza, which is probably going to be, they're going to have a new one shown, which will be like next gen, which would be awesome. And, go ahead.
Well, I think they're going to bring it. Okay. And okay. So I'm going to tell you some predictions.
Okay.
You ready? All right. We didn't even talk about this pre-show, right?
No, go ahead.
I'm going to give you, this is my E3 predictions.
All right.
Because I think what they showcased in May wasn't in the E3 thing. That was, we want to tease you. Okay. This is their E3 presentation watered down. And I think even though it's going to be watered down, I think we're going to get game after game after game. I think it's all going to be games. Okay. I think we're going to get Fable, like an action RPG type Fable game. That's like the worst kept secret in the world, because there's been so many rumors about it for the last 2 years. Like, of course it's real.
Right.
We're going to get a Perfect Dark game, something that everyone is speculating on, but I'm thinking it's going to be more story driven, where we're going to care about what was her name?
Joanna Dark.
Joanna Dark. We're going to get more of a, I'm not saying it's going to be Uncharted. It's not Uncharted, because Uncharted is more of like an action platformer type of game. It's not going to be that, but it will have storytelling elements like Uncharted, but in the first person shooter sense.
Okay.
So we're going to actually care about her, right? Like, wow. Well, they want you to care about her, I should say. I don't know if they're going to hit the marks,
right. Well, so, I mean, the last one, which was like 15 years ago, wasn't great. So,
and then I think we're going to get a big surprise. And I don't know what type of surprise it could be. Hey, we have a GoldenEye. We have a new GoldenEye game, right? Something along those lines, where it's going to be like, oh my god, like wow, right? And they're going to end it. They're going to start it with Halo, because they kind of have to, in my view. Like, you need to go start big and then end it with like a big surprise, like a mic drop moment, and it's going to be like, yep, GoldenEye. Because I think we talked about last year that Nintendo, the rights to GoldenEye, Nintendo didn't re-up those rights because 3 people or 3 entities own those rights. Microsoft, because they own Rare, Nintendo, and then somebody else. I guess the people who own the movies. Maybe it was WB or something along those lines.
No. The people who own the movies, it's a partnership between MGM and the Broccoli Foundation, I think. Stephen A. Broccoli, I think. They because I mean it was a guy who wrote like the original short stories, I think, which like then turned into like a movie series. So they have a like group that kind of maintains those rights. MGM always puts out those movies. That's kind of always been a thing. So that's how it is on the movie side. Yeah.
Well, and I know for a fact it was a three companies owned the rights to GoldenEye.
Right.
I know it was Nintendo, Microsoft because they owned Rare, and it was somebody else, more like a studio. So maybe it was MGM, maybe it was someone else. But I know it was three. I know it wasn't two. It was three entities.
Well, I'll tell you, like they already redid GoldenEye, and it was like okay, because it was on the Wii.
I remember that.
Well, it was also on the 360 too, so they had it on a competent console, but they couldn't get Pierce Brosnan's likeness because he's no longer the face of Bond, so it had to be Daniel Craig, which it will be Daniel Craig again if they're even going to do this again because he's the guy right now. So that
not necessarily. First of all, you're talking to one of the biggest James Bond fans in the world. I love James Bond.
Yeah, he's great. He's great.
And I love Daniel Craig for two reasons. One, because he's Daniel Craig, and two, his name is Daniel. And this is his last James Bond movie that's coming out later in the year.
Well, okay, right. But
so this is
they don't have anybody else pegged to do it.
But I think we're gonna get as a surprise. I think first of all, everyone's been talking about this because people want it. I think we're gonna get a James Bond GoldenEye remake, just like Resident Evil 2 style remake with Pierce Brosnan on it. I think that could be a mic drop moment.
Really?
Because Nintendo didn't re-up, and we talked about this. Nintendo didn't re-up their ownership of that IP.
I know. So
if Microsoft did it, they can broker a license deal.
Maybe. I mean, again, they already tried it once. It was mediocre at best. And like the game on its own definitely doesn't hold up. Like you would have to do the Resident Evil style overhaul to the whole entire game, right? Because there are a lot of problems with that game, especially nowadays, right? Playing on an N64 with the single analog stick is tough. The enemy AI is crazy. The game is like very slow and sluggish. The graphics are very, very poor. Like the resolution's super low. There's just, it's great. It was like of a time. It was revolutionary. Like I get it. I know why it was amazing. I loved the game back in the day. Would you go back and play that game now? Tough.
That's why it's going to get the 2020s, because I don't know if it's coming out this year. I'm just going to say 20s because in the 20s remake style.
I mean,
and I think that's important to know, that because again, Phil Spencer did say a long time ago that there's something that they were interested in, right? But it was hard because two other people own the rights to it, and I thought it was significant that Nintendo. There were reports that Nintendo wasn't going to re-up their portion of it, right? So now Microsoft only needs to negotiate with someone else as far as to bring it back. So, and I'm saying that to say that could be a mic drop moment at the end. It could be that, or it could be something else that no one's thought of.
I mean, if they do it right, and they actually put a lot of effort into it and really like actually overhaul the whole entire thing, I can get behind it.
So we got that. Let's stick with Microsoft and Xbox. There's reports that Xbox is reportedly interested in acquiring WB Interactive. Okay, now we talked about this last week or 2 weeks ago, where WB Interactive, AT&T, which is so weird to say that AT&T owns like Warner Brothers, they're selling off their gaming studios, which is like Avalanche, Rocksteady, WB, who was rumored to be making like a Quarter Owls game, Batman game.
Right.
And NetherRealm, the Injustice and Mortal Kombat series. It is interesting to know if Microsoft did buy them, and they reportedly want $4 billion for them. They're not getting.
I think they're worth that, right?
Yeah, they're not getting the Lord of the Rings. They're not getting Batman. They're not getting DC, so they're not getting those characters. They're getting those studios, which Rocksteady, top of the line, creme of the creme, right? They're getting top talent.
Yeah,
they're not getting those actual IPs. And the only IP they're actually would be purchasing that is of note, I should say, because I'm sure they have like smaller games IPs that probably no one even remembers, is Mortal Kombat. Mortal Kombat would be, could technically be exclusive to Xbox if they, wanted to.
Right, just like Killer Instinct, right?
Yeah,
we can get a Mortal Kombat fighting games.
We can have Mortal Kombat and Killer Instinct together.
Oh, the crossover! Yes.
Here we go.
Both those games are violent, so I mean, they would kind of fit well together.
They would. I would love that. They would have to negotiate the license. They would have to negotiate new licensing deals with AT&T, the company they're paying $4 billion for the studios. They would have to negotiate licensing deals for like Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, Batman, the DC universe for Injustice and stuff like that. So I think they even own Ninja Turtles as well.
Oh, so, yeah.
So
wait,
they would have to.
I thought Konami had the license to that.
To Ninja Turtles? No.
Oh,
I don't think so.
Okay, I could be wrong.
But still, I mean, DC is like the big thing, right? So
yeah.
My only issue. I mean, out of all the people, all the companies that are rumored to be interested in them, Microsoft, as a Sony fan, kind of sucks because Mortal Kombat would be possibly exclusive to Xbox. I don't think they would make Injustice or Batman exclusive, only because they're paying $4 billion for the studio. They would have to pay, a side deal for the license for Batman. So in that case, it would make sense to put Batman out on all the consoles to make that money back, right?
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's like, Microsoft put Minecraft out there, right?
Well, they spent $2 billion for Minecraft, so they want their money back.
And you could already play it pretty much everywhere, so they're like, all right, cross-compatibility, it's fine. Like they have enough in-house stuff to get you to buy the console, right? Like, you can only play this on our system, right? So this other stuff, we're going to make it cross-compatible, because, you do make more money that way, right? So you kind of have to balance out, okay, this is only for us, and this is for everybody, right?
Well, it would make sense for Xbox to do it because I trust them more than I trust 2K or EA, right? Because remember, Rocksteady doesn't put out a game every year or every other year, right? The studio that made Shadow of Mordor, they don't put out a game every year or every other year, right? So if they go to EA or go to 2K and they're paying $4 billion, they're going to a Batman game every year or every other year. They're going to want a Shadow of Mordor with the Nemesis system in it every year, every other year. We're going to get a Harry Potter game every year, every other year. We're going to get something.
Well, see, then you kind of get into the Activision Call of Duty roundtable of like in Infinity Ward and the other two studios, I forget. And we get some good ones and we get some bad ones. So,
but that's what if they pay $4 billion for it,
they want to make the money back on it.
They want to make not that they want to make the money back. They want to maximize. They want to make that plus more.
I get it from a business standpoint for sure.
So we'll see what happens. I personally don't think it will because Microsoft has already spent so much money on buying other studios, right? And then historically,
they have like 12 in-house studios now, which are all making exclusive games. So
I think it makes sense for them to be interested because I think Microsoft is going more service in the future, right? And if they have the studios, the talent, the IP, it makes sense for them to do more, to do more service-based stuff, right? Where they could be on a PlayStation 7, Xbox, right? Xbox games. But I don't think they will because it's another $4 billion when they spent a lot of money buying other studios already.
Right. Yeah. You got to start making a return on those investments.
Yeah.
I don't think one company besides that one battle royale style game, right? That like Overwatch style game has come out from any of those studios yet. So they're all still cranking away behind the scenes.
So, but it makes sense that they're interested. But let's just say they do buy that, right? And Batman could be exclusive to Xbox consoles. right? But Spider-Man is exclusive to Sony because Sony already owns Spider-Man, technically.
Sony owns the license. Yeah.
But Sony, as sort of the yin to the yang, Microsoft is interested in buying WB Interactive. There are reports that Sony is considering a bid for SNK.
Right.
Which is kind of crazy because Sony, Killer Instinct is exclusive to Microsoft because they own Rare. Sony doesn't have an exclusive fighting game. Even though Capcom Street Fighter V was exclusive to the PlayStation 5, Street Fighter itself isn't exclusive to Sony. That was just a deal they made, right? Mm-hmm. I can't imagine Street Fighter 6 being exclusive to PlayStation 5. That's going to be on everything. It's going to be on the Switch, Series X, Super Switch, iOS. It's going to be everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So this would be kind of cool because you can have Samurai Showdown, and which is the most famous fighting game. They have other fighting games that aren't as famous, but they'll have a slate of fighting games like Samurai Showdown. Could be technically exclusive to PlayStation.
Samurai Showdown, King of Fighters, Art of Fighting, Fatal Fury.
Oh wait, let me stop you there. No one cares about Art of Fighting.
Well, all of those Art of Fighting characters are in King of Fighters, so it's essentially, they haven't made an official Art of Fighting game in a while, but
yeah, no one cares about Art of Fighting. It's still $2 in the SNES.
I mean, whatever. The old Art of Fighting game, not so great, but the characters have moved into.
No, I get what you're saying. I was just busting your chops.
Yeah. So I mean, there's a lot. Like, I would not want this to happen because then we don't get any of those games or collections on the Switch. We don't get any of those games or collections on the Xbox. They're definitely not. Well, they may come to PC. Who knows?
Well, listen. I would love that. I love my fighting games on my DualShock. So if it's a fighting game, I want to primarily buy it on my PlayStation.
Mm-hmm.
The fighting games I have on my Xbox are only the versions that come out a year later with all the DLC characters, right? But when the fighting game first comes out, I buy it on the PlayStation because fighting games and the DualShock just go hand in hand. They're just better, and first-person shooters are better on the Xbox with that controller. But I would love this just for the fighting games. I wouldn't love it for the arcade style like Metal Slug games because those games are better on the portable. And Sony, unless they put out the Vita 2, I would want those on the Switch.
Right.
So we'll see. I mean, I don't want Xbox to buy WB Interactive,
right?
But if they do, this would be a good move for Sony, because we have a lot of arcade style games and IPs. They have a lot of different. I mean, SNK has a lot of IPs that they could bring, that Sony can build up, right, and put something to it. And I think Sony should have a fighting game. Come on, they should have a fighting game.
They have Street Fighter V. Be happy with that.
No. This should be an actual
with that
franchise that is exclusive to Sony platform.
Sony can make their own. Sony can make their own game.
They can just buy it. They can buy it like Microsoft. They have a big coalition
of game studios under that. They can just PlayStation umbrella.
They can just buy it like Microsoft bought it. There we go. Well, that's what they're considering. We talked about what Xbox is considering. We talked about what Sony's considering. Let's talk about what Sony actually did. Sony actually owns a minority stake in Epic because they spent $250 million.
Right.
Which, by the way, is nothing compared to the $375 million. I think it was 375. It definitely was a little bit more, 100 million more that Tencent acquired Epic for, being a minority owner as well.
Right. And we all know Tencent not the greatest company. Tencent is a Chinese-owned company, so that comes with a lot of baggage in that like case. I don't want to like throw a lot of shade at China, but China is a very weird country and they do a lot of very weird things. So I'm just saying, like, I'd rather have Sony have a minority stake in Epic rather than Tencent, but that's not the case. So I guess.
Well, this just means. To be honest, this isn't, Fortnite isn't exclusive to PlayStation 5.
No,
but you will get exclusive PlayStation 5 skins and probably missions and stuff.
Well, they're going to be on the board, right? So they'll be able to kind of able to kind of put some things in place and make some moves and put some stuff up to say, hey, like, you know, put some stuff on our system because we gave you a hell of a ton of money, you know?
Well, this is more of a business move. This is like 10 years down the line, Sony needs money, so they're going to sell their stake in Epic for $500 million, so they doubled their money.
I don't think it's a bad idea to like do that, right? Epic is on the way up. They're becoming a major player. They're an actual rival, or starting to become one, to Steam, which I think is kind of cool. So yeah, I mean, you know, why not? Like, I hope this pays off for them in the end, like literally.
Yeah. But let's stick with consoles, and let's stick with the next generation, the Xbox Series X and PS5. We now know, well, I don't think this is still official. I think there's still room that this can change. I hope it can change, because we haven't had the actual box in our hand, but we've had box art released. And it looks like we know what the next box art for next gen is going to look like. And I got to say, I'm semi-disappointed in the PS5 box art, because it's just how it looks, right? Because we're collectors, so I care about how it looks on the shelf.
Yeah, of course.
The rim at the top has that two-tone black and white, where the PlayStation, it's white with PlayStation letter and the logos on black. That part I love, and I knew that was going to happen, right? That was, you know, I knew that was going to happen.
The console, it makes sense, you know.
But I don't like they're still using the blue actual case, right? Because you can see that outer line blue. Yeah. And they should have used like a translucent black case,
right? To match the system a little better, yeah. And you would differentiate the game cases, all right?
Yes. Yeah. So that part I don't like. I like the rim. I like the paper. I don't like the actual plastic case, the color of the case itself, and I hope that changes.
Well, the good news,
I could be wrong.
The good news is the form factor is exactly the same as the PS4. So
yes,
if you need cases and you just swap stuff around, like, it's MUI compatible. So, but yeah, no, I am 100% with you. Translucent black would have been cooler. It would have differentiated it from the PS4. But you know, we got it in the blue. Who knows? I mean, maybe we'll get a mid-generation shift like the PlayStation 3 did. Remember that? Because like half the games had the little spine thing on the side, and then, you know, the later generation stuff, they changed it to that top spine. It's a possibility, you know. It
is, but I don't think they'll actually change the physical case. But at least they did something. Xbox, the Series X, is exactly the same as the Xbox One, with the exception that it just has the Xbox Series X at sort of the top. Right. Like sort of in the middle, is at the very top, because it's just at the very top is just Xbox.
Right.
But like on the paper version, it's just Xbox Series X with the badge that says optimized for Series X.
Right. Well, I think that makes sense, right? Because anybody who looks at it says, oh, like Xbox, like I can play this on my Xbox One. And that's 100% true. Like there's no confusion, right? You know, sure, you know, people may see Xbox Series X and go like, wait a minute, like is this whatever? But then you see the badge down there and it says optimized for. So they're trying to let you know that it's good for both generations of systems, right?
I know, but come on. Like they could have made it. It's the same. Sense. It's the same case.
It makes sense.
It's the same case. You make it. You could have made it. You could have made it like a lighter green, translucent green.
But it's an Xbox One game that has enhanced features for the Series X.
All the Xbox Series X games are going to look like this. I'm telling you, they're not going to change it.
Yeah, I don't think they are. I don't think
they should change it now. I know it's optimized for Series X, but they should change it. Come on, be different. Come on, give me a translucent green. Yes, no, you're wrong. Just different.
So then it's not going to fit in with all the other current gen titles. NBA 2K21 is not a Series X exclusive game, so you can't put it in a different case.
It's because
then people aren't going to buy it.
It's an Xbox Series X game.
It's not.
That
No,
you
it's
can
not.
play on the One.
It's
Yes.
an Xbox One game that's enhanced for next generation.
No.
If you change up the case, people are going to be confused and they're going to think, wait a minute, this isn't the branding I recognize. Can I actually play this game? It says Xbox,
And
but I don't know.
then you just ask somebody or read the description.
Well,
I
as soon as you have to ask somebody, you've lost the sale. You have lost the sale. Because now you have to take an extra step. Now you have to take an extra step. You have to walk over. What if you don't find anybody? Why even bother doing all that? Just to be different? No.
Yeah,
look, it's
because
boring.
It's
boring, but it 100%.
So 3 years
sense.
from now, 3 years from now, 4 years from now, okay, in 2023,
maybe they will end up.
They're not going to change it. They're not going to change it.
Maybe they will end up changing it later on because the games won't be backwards compatible anymore.
They're not going to change it.
Well, like PS3 did that. PS3 changed up their box art for no reason except for the fact that they wanted to change it up. They wanted to make it look different.
They changed a lot of stuff. They changed a lot of stuff. They first of all, PS3 doesn't count because they changed a lot of stuff. Okay, from when they start with that bad messaging, in the beginning.
There's precedent though.
All right. So they changed it for a reason. They changed it for a reason. They wanted to say, "Hey, we're not that old PlayStation. We're not the first 3 years of PlayStation."
Well, there you go. There you go. We are now not the first 3 years of Xbox. Like, now we have games that are no longer compatible with the previous generation.
Phil Spencer said all games are going to be able to play on the beta machine Xbox One. That's what he said.
Till the end of time? Doubtful.
Till the end of time.
Doubtful.
Till the end of time. He's going to be with Doctor Strange. And see end of time in the future and say every game.
Here's where I say that doesn't work anymore because now you have to play the lowest common denominator game, right? And unless Xbox has like some really sophisticated tools in place to say, all right, you build your base game for the original Xbox One, the beta machine, and then you kind of mess with the sliders and the knobs and the whatever to say, all right, like if we have extra horsepower, then crank up the resolution to this and turn on the HDR and turn on the God rays and turn on the ray tracing, right? You do all these little things based on your level of power and performance, or depending on the system you have. That's a lot more overhead for the developers to work all that out. That's a lot more QA time to work all that stuff out. I just don't think it's going to be a sustainable a couple years out when the games actually start showing the power of the system. Like, it's going to be too much. And then I think at that point I say, okay, rebrand the carts. You know.
Nope. That's not going to happen. He said, this is his words.
I don't care what he said. I don't care what he said.
Oh, you don't care what the head of Xbox said? You don't care what the man says? He said.
Howard Lincoln of Nintendo famously said, Night Trap will never be on a Nintendo console.
And it took 30 years.
Well, it got there. It got there.
So it's going to be 30 years, or we're going to be on like the Xbox Series C.
I'm just saying, I don't necessarily care what people say. I like Phil Spencer's commitment.
And it's going to be like, yeah, sorry, finally we're cutting off Xbox One. I know we're in the year 2054. But do you actually think they're going to be able to do that? I think they're going to try, yeah.
Yes, they're going to try. Do you
think
they're actually going to be able to do that?
We're in a year of Hyperscape from Ubisoft. 2054, and we're finally going to cut off the Xbox.
No.
The Xbox One.
It's not gonna. The Xbox Series X as a platform maybe is going to last 10 years, even with like a mid-season refresh or something. But like, do you actually think developers are going to keep building games for like 4 different styles of systems? All right, because you have the beta, you have the S, you have the X. You have the Series X, and most likely there'll be a Series S. That's a digital version. And there's probably going to be a mid-generation refresh. So now they have like 5 different power systems of varying power levels that people have to develop for.
I'm just telling you what the man said.
All right. You're not answering my question, though.
I'm just telling you what the man said yes.
Okay, you're not answering my question, which basically says everything, which means it's going to be attainable.
We're going to be in a nursing home talking about, I hope this game works on the beta machine Xbox One.
I love it. You want to agree with me, but you don't, because
that's not what the man said.
I don't care what the man said. I'm asking if you think they'll be able to do that.
Are you killing my favorite gaming personality? The head of gaming. Are you discrediting him?
Listen.
Are you discrediting him?
Listen. When
you call him a liar?
When Sony had their 2005 god awful PS3 presentation, and they had all this like fake game footage for all these games that were never coming out, that could never run on a PS3. All right, they're like, but look at all this like cool stuff, and none of it like came true. So
it sure came out.
What's that?
Ridge Racer came out.
Ridge Racer, yeah, and Genji came out too, where you could fight the giant enemy crab in the historic Japanese battle.
I'm just telling you what the man said.
I understand.
That's all I'm saying.
All right.
All I'm saying.
All right.
But it's one thing. It's one thing that we can agree on, and that's physical game rocks. Having the game. Media. Having the physical game rocks, and at least the next gen, we still have physical media. No matter how much we hate the actual case, we want the case to change. Because I don't hate it, I just want it to change. I want it to be different. With that said, let's stick with physical media, and we have to talk about limited runs. E3, well, they called it Limited Run 3 because it was their third sort of E3 style presentation, where they're keeping physical media alive. I don't want to go through all the games they went through, but I want to highlight some games because I think, personally, for me, this was the best limited run game showcase ever, and this is the third one, right? So every year they got better. So they started off with getting Shantae. Now, if you don't want to spend $200-$300 on this Game Boy Color game, don't worry, because Limited Run's actually putting out a Game Boy Color game and the Switch. So the original Shantae game.
That should definitely bring down the price of the original a little bit.
And I'm definitely not buying this in the Switch. I'm buying it in the Game Boy Color. Sticking with Shantae, which I think is a fantastic series that they're milking, I tell you. We got Shantae Risky Revenge is coming in September. That's definitely coming on the Switch. A digital game I almost bought because a bunch of people said it was a really good game, and that's Mummy Demastered. That's actually coming July 31st on the Switch and PS4.
Yeah. Mummy Demastered is fantastic.
It's so fantastic. I am super happy I didn't buy it digital because I'm going to get the physical copy.
Yeah, right. No, it's like an old school Metroidvania in like the 16-bit style for the terrible Mummy reboot starring Tom Cruise. So great game. Based off originally a great franchise, which turned into a terrible franchise, which then got remastered into a terrible franchise.
Well, it got demastered.
Yeah, well, there you go. And now it got demastered into a very good video game.
Bloodstained: Curse of the Moon 2. I am so happy I didn't buy this digitally because it came out last week. Hell
yes.
It's TBD. But I can't imagine it going past, like, it's going to come out this year, and they have it for the Switch and PS4, so I'm just going to wait. Can't wait for this to come out. I'm glad I didn't buy it, but we got an actual Castlevania. The Castlevania Anniversary Collection is coming out in Q3.
I know. Did you buy this one?
Yes,
I bought this one.
I did fucking buy this one. I should have waited. I got the Castlevania. Well,
collection. Who knew? Because like, where is the? I'm going to go ahead and spoil this for people. Where is the Contra collection? We didn't get a Contra collection, right? But we did get...
You know what? That is weird, right? Because that sort of came out at the same time, Contra and the Castlevania
exactly right.
collection.
Like, why wouldn't they get the license for both? Like, if you can get Konami games, why not get the other great franchise, right? Why not get the Gradius collection if they even have one, which I think they do. That would be awesome, and we would be buying all three because, we definitely love physical. So, yeah, I don't know.
Well, maybe they want to see how well the Castlevania collection sells before they do the Contra collection, because I'm sure it is a monetary thing because they're dealing with Konami, right? And they probably want to, maybe they want more money than other people like Bloodstained: Curse of the Moon to get the physical, right?
Yeah.
You never know.
It's a possibility, but I like the idea of let's test the waters with Castlevania, see how well it sells, and then we can do, other stuff later on, because those games aren't going anywhere, right? They could still do Contra three months down the line. So
they can do Contra next year.
yeah, exactly, and we would still buy it.
Right? I mean, listen. First of all those Contra games are old anyway, right? So it's not like it's a new game. It's a game that we waited years for anyway. So, well, the next game they showed was Mighty Gunvolt Burst. This is a game that's actually pretty old, like 3 years old. I mean, this is a game I was playing. Maybe not the first, but like the second time we went to PAX, I was playing it on the Switch.
Yeah.
So this is from Indie Creates. I'm kind of, it's kind of strange it's coming out now, but I'm glad it's coming out. You can play as Mighty Number 9, right? So it's sort of like a
yay. I don't think anybody fucking cares about the Mighty Number 9 guy.
I mean, it's sort of like a Mega Man game. It's like in that realm.
It is. Yeah, it's kind of like a Mega Man game, but yeah. Does not hit.
But all right, so it's coming out on the Switch and PS4. Then we have Carry On, right? A game where you play as the monster, right? Which is kind of super weird, different. Want to know sort of the game mechanics of that.
That is also coming out for limited on special reserve games. Not to cut you off, but
correct. We don't know when it's coming out. It's TBD. They didn't have an actual date, but it's coming out on the Switch. A game.
I think we both played that last year, right? At PAX.
Well, we played it earlier this year at PAX.
Did we?
Yeah, I know I did. I don't know about you. I know I played this earlier.
I played it last year. Yeah.
Oh wow!
It's been in like production for a while.
Well, a game that we definitely played last year. Yeah, last year, and we nominated for Game of the Year. It's Katana Zero.
Yep, I knew this was coming. So I am in that boat. We're in this boat of like, well, now we have the digital and we have to buy the physical. But hell yeah, we're gonna get this.
Well, it's coming out for the Switch in November, so definitely looking out for that. And we got Return of the Obra Dinn, right? That's coming out in July for the Switch. And then it was weird because they had this whole sort of presentation of the Ouya, right? Like, I don't remember the launch video for the Ouya, but this could have been it.
Where they
had the Ouya system and the controller. And they're like, well, you thought the Uber was dead, the Ouya was dead, and nope, it's still dead. However, the game that was exclusive for the Ouya, which was sort of like the killer app to buy the Ouya back in the day, which came out on all systems eventually, was Towerfall Ascension with both expansions coming to the Switch in Q3. So definitely want to buy that. And I was actually thinking about it.
Towerfall is great, man.
I was thinking about it a couple of months ago. I was like, man, we don't have a physical for this. This is a game we definitely need a physical for.
Yeah, I mean, it was like the game for the Ouya, and it was fantastic. And then it came to Steam after the Ouya failed, or right before it failed.
So, Samurai Jack: Battle Through Time, a game that was sort of showcased through IGN exclusively. We got a physical for that coming out on the Switch, PS4, TBD. Don't know when that's coming out. A game that came out of left field. I didn't even see this coming. Space Channel 5. This actually was a Dreamcast game. We're getting Space Channel 5 VR exclusively for the PSVR coming out in November. Star Wars Episode 1 Racer. That's actually been out since July 10th for the Switch and PS4. I think that's up at as of now. I think that's up. You can no longer pre-order that. I could be wrong. I gotta check. I know I got an email saying it's coming up on last run of pre-orders. But last but not least, they ended with Monkey Island 30th Anniversary Collection coming out in October for the PC.
Yeah, man. So I wonder if this is gonna have the I forget if they said it's gonna have the remastered version of the first one.
Well, it's definitely the anthology, so it's all 4 games. I don't know if it's the remaster of the first one.
Right, yeah, because they put that out on 360, I don't know, 2008 or 9 maybe, and it was awesome because it was like you could toggle between the 2 different graphical styles, and it was just like boom, boom, boom. You could play with the new graphics, the old graphics. Such a good game. I don't know if you ever got to play Monkey Island, but. No,
I am not familiar with the Monkey Island series.
It's a great puzzle adventure game, right? You kind of walk around, solve puzzles, and you have to save. I think you have to save your girlfriend in the first one. I think that's the plot. But it's great. You're on this big island with all these pirates, and it's crazy. It's crazy.
And lastly, we got to talk about Sega, because Sega. You know what? I was always a Nintendo kid, but I want to love Sega because I thought Sega was cool back in the day. They just do these weird but slightly intriguing moves. They make these moves. They got the little Game Gear, which is interesting.
It's terrible.
But terrible. I mean, it's an interesting
unusable.
idea. It's an interesting concept, but it's terrible. They could have just made a regular Game Gear with all the Game Gear games on it. Right in the shell.
They could have made a actually sized Game Gear with a decent screen and 16 games, yes. And put that out for $80 and everyone would have bought one.
And everybody would have bought it.
Yeah, instead of doing like 4 tiny consoles with 4 games each. Yeah, no.
I mean, I'm not going to lie. Unless it comes out to the US, I'm probably not going to buy it. But this is something that I am interested in buying. Depending on the games that are going to be on it. Sega announced a miniature arcade cabinet, and same in the vein that SNK had the SNK Mini, and it was like a little mini arcade cabinet with a screen on it. But it's a little bit bigger than that, with 36 games included. It's only going to be sold in Japan so far. I think this thing is awesome, sort of like the mini arcade systems, if it's good quality, obviously.
I think this is a much better value, right? They're putting it at like $120.
Well, it's the conversion is $118 American.
Yeah. It's you know, it's 120. It's a little bit high, considering that like the Neo Geo one was like $80, you know, and that had like 40 games on there and HDMI out and whatever else. It's still cool. Like I think I'd be with you if they put it out in the US. I'd probably seriously consider buying it.
I would really this is something that the Game Gear, I hope they don't put it in the US, only because as a collector I'll be forced to buy it.
You're gonna buy it. I mean, I don't know what's stopping you from buying it now, other than the like whatever the import tax is, but
well, that, and I don't know if the screen is going to be small, and then the RPG games, I'm assuming they're not going to be in English. They're going to be in Japanese, right?
You're not going to play Shining Force anyway, even if it is in English.
Well, I can try it. At least it's there. See, it's not about will I play it or not. I have the option of playing it. If it's in Japanese, I don't even have that option. Because I have no idea what they're saying, right? So it's the option. I have Final Fantasy games. I have other turn-based RPGs. There's always the option that I can try to play it one day. Right? But if it's in Japanese, I'm not going to play because I can't read it.
Because you can't get anywhere in it. Yeah. Especially for a game you never played before, so.
Yeah. Well, nonetheless, I think this is pretty cool. I don't know about the form factor because it's like all white with the green, like a sort of the green buttons and the green stick. Right. Which is kind of weird because you would think Sega is like blue and white. You would think everything would be blue and white.
Yeah, this is very similar to arcade cabinets that they have in Japan. Some of them do come in a form factor that's kind of like this. So I think that's what they were trying to emulate in that case, as opposed to like doing like the Sega logo on the side and the white and blue, which also would have been super cool. Like I'd be about this, but
maybe if they put it in America. If this comes out west, they would do it more of like in a white and blue. I guess they want to see how well it will sell, and then it'll go out to other territories.
Yeah.
So, but this is pretty cool. I like this, and I actually think I would actually import this if it's in good quality.
Right.
But if it's an at-games thing, you can forget it.
I mean, it doesn't say anywhere in this article about at-games, so I don't necessarily think they have their stink over this one. All right, I think Sega's learned their lesson. Yeah, and I guess on that semi-high note, it's gonna end episode 226. So I'm glad we had that to go out on. It's been a good show. Lots of stuff to look forward to. It's going to be a great holiday season. Christmas one is going to be blowing up, Dan. We're going to spend a lot of money. So, if you want to interact with us, and we know you do, you can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube at Rated G for Gamers. We are also part of the Gaming Podcast Alliance. Check out all of the fine podcasts featured on there if you're looking for more gaming goodness at gamingpodcastalliance.com. So, please listen, like, rate, review, and subscribe. And as always,
keep gaming.